This is Shine Valentine back today again with a new episode. Today's episode, let me first say that I'm a little bit under the weather. You probably can hear it in my voice. I have a little cold, so my energy is rather low right now. My voice sounds a little bit distorted, but something I wanted to jump on here and say while I'm sick. This is to the men. I could be wrong about this, but don't most of you want to be admired by the woman that you're dating? And don't you all, like I said, want her to admire you, look up to you, and don't you want her to lean on you to be the leader? So don't you want to take the lead? Don't you want her to think that you know more than her? Don't you want to know? So do you want to know more than the woman that you're dating? I guess that is a question. And you want her to admire you. So let me go over this again. Most men I have noticed, and is this every single man? No, it's not. But I've noticed some things about men. I don't know if this is you guys' ego or whatever, but men like to be admired by their girlfriend or wife. That's really important to them. Of course, they like to be respected by her, but everyone likes to be respected. For women, I don't think women want, a woman wants her husband or boyfriend to adore her, to tell her she's beautiful, to protect her, provide for her, and be there for her. That's what she wants from him, and to love her. I feel a man, he wants respect from his lady, and most importantly, he wants her to admire him, and he wants to be the leader. And I don't know if that's ego. I wouldn't call that ego. I don't know what you want to call that, but it is what it is. My question to men, though, and when I say this, I am not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be rude, because I really was thinking about this. And I get that some of you all want to be admired by the woman that you're dating or your wife. And that's cool. A woman will play into your ego and do that. But some of you men might run into an issue with this, where you find women who don't admire you or don't feel like you know much or whatever, and some of you men get upset. So let's just say, I'm gonna give you a prime example. I had a situation with an ex where we decided to do something. Some stuff had happened, and we basically wrote a letter up to his job and got some people in trouble and all that. They deserved it though. So me and him was laughing. A couple years later, we was talking about laughing about it. And I said to him, I said, you know, I don't remember who came up with this idea. Was it you or me? And I remember he said, no, I came up with the idea. And when I brought it to you, you was like, yeah, you should do that. And maybe that is what happened. But the way but the vibe I got from him was, even if it was my idea, he would have made it seem like he came up with it. So I noticed this with men. They always want the woman to follow behind him. They always want the woman to be less intelligent than them, or it seems like that, or they want her to downplay her intelligence, what is the word for this? They want to be the one to come up with the idea. They want to take the lead. If it was her idea and it turns out good, sometimes they don't like that. They want her to turn to him for suggestions. Also with men, when they give you advice, they want you to take it. Men get very upset when they give you advice and you don't take it. Women, because they expect you to value their advice and admire them. So let me get to my question finally. Men, you want women to admire you and take your advice and all that, but what makes you the type of person that she would admire? What have you accomplished? What have you done to make her think that you could take the lead, or that you're smarter than her and all that? So don't get offended. Now follow where I'm going with this. So let's just say you are the owner of a company, and you're looking for a manager, because you can't obviously be there all day. You need a manager to manage your company while you're doing other things. Would you go with a manager that has experience, or someone who has no management experience? You probably would go with someone with experience. So for you men, I've heard several men say, oh, I told my wife to do this and that with her money. I told her to do this and that, and she won't listen to me. Now women, sometimes women don't, well, sometimes men and women do this to each other. They don't listen to each other. And I think most people, men and women, they need a second opinion. Even if they value your opinion as their spouse, they still want to hear, most people, just because they ask for advice does not mean they're going to take your advice. They usually just want to hear your opinion, and then they draw their own conclusion. But if they asked about 10 people that they thought highly of their opinion or something, they'll filter it and say, okay, well, they all are seeming to say the same thing. Okay, I might do that. Just because someone asks your opinion, everyone, does not mean they're going to follow the advice you gave them, or basically, the opinion you gave does not mean they're going to, take that opinion and run with it. So just understand that about people, men and women. They're not going to, just because they ask your advice, they just want to know your opinion. That's all. That don't mean they're going to take it. But I noticed, so think about this, man. Would you go with the person who had management experience, or would you go with someone who didn't? Probably the person that has management experience. So when you're with a woman and you want her to admire you and always turn to you for advice and listen to you, how does she know she's in good hands? How does she know that you know what the hell you're talking about? If your finances are messed up, if she's making more money than you, if you don't seem to be making sound decisions, why would she in turn let you make the decisions for the family when you don't seem to be making great decisions? Now I know what you men are going to say. Well, why would she be with a man that's not doing it? Some of those women, I don't get them either. The women who are picking messed up men, they're messed up themselves. Okay, so we're not talking about the women that are picking messed up men. I'm talking about, let's just say, a woman and a guy. They get along. She thinks highly of him. And like I said, with me and my ex, allegedly he suggested something and I said, yeah, you should do it. But I do remember I think he suggested it, but I remember me pushing him. But another thing that he did, because like, even if I really feel like the vibe he would give me, even if I came up with a suggestion and he did it and it worked out good, he still would act. He was the type of person, and I think some men are like this. They don't want to take. They want to be the one that came up with the idea. They don't want a woman to be smarter than them or something. I don't know what this is. And one thing that he did to me, the reason why I thought that I came up with the suggestion of writing this letter to these people at his job, because I'm a writer for one, and I will write letters to get people in trouble all the time. I'm notorious for this. I'm very good at writing. I would do this all the time. So when I was talking to him one day, I remember this was a long time ago, I was like, yeah, remember this is when we were still together. I was like, yeah, remember when we did X, Y, and Z and got those people in trouble at your job? And I said, whose idea was it? Was it mine or was it yours? Some time I went past and I wasn't sure. I was just reminiscing because it was funny. He said, no, it was my idea, but you just said, yeah, I should do that. I said, okay, but how he said it, almost like how, you better not dare take credit for that, which was strange. So I think he wrote the letter. He read it to me, or I proofread it. And then I remember I had a situation in a job that I had where I wrote a letter to get some people in trouble. And he proofread it. And I was being kind of emotional in the letter. And I had to calm down. And he said, well, I'm going to help you write this letter. Mind you, I'm a writer. He tells me, y'all, I'm going to help you write this letter because you write the way that you talk. So I don't speak a lot of slang or anything like that. But I was being kind of emotional in the letter. And sometimes, of course, most people write more professional than sometimes they talk. That's some people. And I talk pretty professional, but in the letter, I think I was getting kind of emotional. And he said, well, let me look over and read it. I said, fine. So he looks over and reading it, and he calls himself rewriting it. And he did the same thing I did. He put some of his own slang and terminology in the letter. The same thing I did. So he was able to point out my flaws, or imagine, I'm a writer. He's not even a writer, but he did the same thing I did. So I noticed this with some men. They like to make it seem like they're smarter than you. They do not like it when you correct them. I remember my ex-boyfriend, he one time he would shave his hair. He was lining up his hair. He couldn't really see it in the back. So he came to me. He said, can you show me? He said, tell me if this is straight in the back. I said, no, it's not straight. He said, okay. He went and fixed it. He came to me again. He said, is this straight in the back? I said, no, it's not straight. He got mad, went back, still screwed it up, and then left out the house. And when he came back, I said, why you didn't ask me again if it was straight? He's like, well, I ain't want to hear your opinion no more. I'm like, okay, it wasn't an opinion, it was a fact. You asked me, was it lined up correctly? It wasn't. It's hard for you to see the back of your head. So why did you get mad when you asked me and I told you, and so you just stormed out? you know, he would do stuff like that. And it's just like, they don't, I ain't say all men, but some of them, they really don't like, they just, what is the word? They want someone to admire them. They want someone to lie to them. And they don't like when they feel you're smarter than them. And, you know, I don't even think they like teamwork as much. I think they more so, with some of these 2019 men, it seems like they want to be the leader. They want you to admire them. They want to tell you what to do. They want to point out your flaws, but you can't point out their flaws. But they still want you to help them pay bills and stuff. So I'm confused. Like, if you want to be the leader in every aspect. Pay all the bills. You can do what you got to do, and I won't correct you on anything. If that's how you want it to be, I guess you don't want to be in a relationship. You just want to be, you know, I don't know. I guess you just want someone to be pretty sleep with you and not say nothing, and you take the credit for things. Because I could have sworn that when I think about it, I think I'm the one that suggested to him to write this letter, because he'll come home really upset at some things that was going on in his job. And I could have sworn, because I remember I wrote letters before I met him. I wrote letters before to jobs. What I mean to jobs? Let me repeat this again. Y'all know I'm sick. Okay. Before we got together, I had some situations at a couple jobs where I wrote a letter and got some people in trouble. So I would do stuff like that. So I could have sworn when he would come home upset, I gave him the suggestion. I didn't tell him what to do. I said, oh, you should write a letter. But he claimed when we were reminiscing that he the one had the idea. So I noticed, I'm like, okay, I'll let him have it. I said, maybe you did come up with the idea. But a lot of times when men, they want to come up with the idea. I had a guy tell me that a man likes for a woman to admire him. He likes for a woman who they like for you to not know as much as them. So when they're coming to you women, they're ranting about stuff, they don't really want you to give them advice. They don't, because then they start feeling you know more than them, and they don't feel like you admire them and you're important. So this is my question to younger men. If you all older men can kind of get away with this, because some of them actually have had more time to accumulate money and have things where a woman might say, oh, he knows more than me. But if you're the same age as a woman, or you're younger than her, and you want her to admire you, what exactly is she going to admire? Okay, as far as your looks, she might think you're cute. She doesn't admire your looks. She just like how you look. Okay, that's for one. As far as admiring you, what else could she admire other than your accomplishments? So if you're still young, you're trying to get your accomplishments under your belt. What you know what you mean? Because it's young men and older men that feel like this. All y'all feel like this. When I say all y'all, I mean it's not all men that feel like this, but the men who the category of men who do feel like this, I think, is a large amount, and they consist of young men and old men. So old men can kind of get away with getting that feeling from a woman where she admires me, and you know she thinks that I'm smarter than her, because you possibly could be smarter than her, older men, if you with a younger woman, because she's having lived as long as you. So yeah, by default, you might be smarter than her if you learned. Now, let me explain something. Just because you're older than somebody does not mean you're smarter than them, because you could have gotten old and dumb and not learn from your mistakes, okay, and not have tried to evolve and grow. So don't get it twisted. Just because someone's younger than you does not mean they're stupid. I know some young people who are very, very intelligent. So let's get that straight. I hate when people make it seem because they're older, they're automatically smarter. Okay, let's get that clear. So for some of you older men who feel a younger woman is just automatically stupid, that's not true. Okay, so, and just because a woman doesn't know as much as does not mean she's stupid, by the way. She just might not have experienced the things you have because you've been on the planet longer, sir. Okay, so I noticed this with some men, and then like I said, older men can get away with getting that, because men, like I said, they like to be admired, like a woman look up to them, they like to take the lead, they like to be the one that knows everything. So they like a woman who kind of acts, they like a woman who, I feel men like women who don't know as much as them. They like that stuff. They like to say, baby, let me show you how I do this, or baby, let me do it, let me show you how I do this, silly girl, and da da da. It makes them feel like a man. Like, that's what it seems like. And so older men can get away with that, like I said, because some of them, you know, if they get a younger woman, then they can kind of do that. Oh, I have more, you know, I got money, I accumulated money, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. You're still learning. And then a woman can say, oh, well, teach me this and teach me that. Yeah, I don't know how to do this. You're older, you're wiser, teach me. I don't know nothing. I'm just learning, but I want you to be my teacher. And that brings me to the next point too. Yeah, men like to teach. They like a woman who is, as they say, teachable. They want a woman who admires them, who lets them take the lead, and who they can teach. Okay. Now, younger men, how are you all going to get a woman to quote unquote admire you, a woman that you can teach, and a woman that looks up to you and lets you take the lead in that and give you that feeling? You men like for your ego, y'all like that feeling of being admired, a woman looking up to you, like for her to be, not as smart as you. You like to teach her things. So to younger men, if you get offended by a woman who is as intelligent as you and give you suggestions and come up with good ideas, if you get offended by that, how are you going to get around that? Even if you're dating a woman that's young like you, because you haven't lived long enough to possibly accumulate the kind of money you wanted, or to have accomplished the things that you needed to, because you haven't been here long enough. You're still accumulating it. You still got time. You're still working on that. So with you men, it's kind of interesting to me how you all want someone to admire you, but what if you don't have nothing really to admire? And then two, what if you don't even have your stuff together? Why would she just hand over her bank account to you, or let you take her money in investing stuff when you don't have experience in investing? Why would she hand over money to you for you to open up a business when you don't have experience in business? See, this is my issue with some men. They want a woman to just lay down and just say, you take the lead and you do whatever you want with our money, or you do whatever you want with whatever, and then lead, and you could be leading her down a bad path. You want to lead, but how we know where you leading us? Okay, like, what if you're leading wrong? You don't want her to say anything? And I noticed too, men don't want the woman to take credit for things, when she was right about something. So this brings me to the women. I think that her name is Shira7. If I'm saying her name wrong, disregard it. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Her, Michaela Pink, and all that. Those women. They believe in dating up, and yeah, that's a good thing, right? And neither one of them, I think they don't work a traditional job. I think Shira is a stay-at-home mom. So she was saying, and I agree with her. She was saying that, like she said, men like to take the lead. They like for you to admire them. And she said, she told women, if you have a professional job, say you're a receptionist, okay? Because then they feel they can impress you. See, men want to be able to impress you. And if they feel like you're just as smart as them, some of them get uncomfortable around that. And for you men to say, we don't get intimidated by that. I didn't say you were intimidated by a smart woman. I said you get uncomfortable because you feel that maybe you can't show her anything and teach her anything because she knows a lot of stuff. So you feel like, okay, it's nothing, I can't impress her. Okay. I heard a story where this guy wanted to take this woman to this, I think, 5-star restaurant. And when he took her, she said, oh, I've been here before. Me and my friends came. We come here all the time. And he had a sourpuss look on his face. And she asked him what's wrong. And he said, you been here already? You come here all the time? He said, I can't even impress you. Then she said after that date, he never called her again, and she went back to that restaurant with her friends like she normally would about like a month later, and he was there with another woman. So he would take women there to impress them. So they like, some men like to show you things you never experienced, to see that light in your eyes. And so another thing Shira was saying, which I think is true, you might have to lie and act like even if you tell them what profession you do, pretend like it doesn't make that much money. And also when you're talking to them, act like you don't know things that you know. So you could know a lot, but just pretend like you don't know it. And look, that's hard for me because you see, I'm a talker and I'm very mental. I'm a Leo. My sun sign is Leo. My moon sign is Pisces. But I think I have a Gemini rising or ascendant. If you all are into astrology, you know what I'm talking about. But so Geminis can be still very mental. So with me, I can be very mental, even though I'm a Leo, and my Pisces is my moon sign. I'm still very mental, so it's kind of hard for me to turn off that. Like, I like talking about different topics, so I have to learn myself to pull it back when I'm conversating with a man, or I'm conversating with my boyfriend, and we get into little debates and stuff. Not arguments, but we get into debates. And I don't think men they don't like debating with their girlfriend. That's not what they want you for. They like having conversations with you if he's an intellectual type guy. But if he's not intellectual, he don't want to talk about that stuff with you. Okay, he wants you to sit there, be quiet, listen. If he's a talker, and it depends on the guy, but no guy likes for you to. Let me take that back. Now all men are like this, but it's a decent amount that don't like you to know more than them because they feel like they can't impress you, they can't teach you anything. And so Shira was saying, basically, women just act like you can know a lot, women, but just pretend like you don't know it. Act kind of like, I wouldn't say like a bimbo. Don't act stupid. She always say play stupid, but don't be stupid. So act like you might know a lot, but just kind of act like you don't. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying, because some of these men, I don't know about some of them. Like, they really get, like I said with my ex, he really tried to, I think he tried to take credit for something that I initiated. And then when I wrote a letter dealing with my own situation, he tells me it wasn't written correctly. He proofreading and rewrites it, and then and he did the same thing I did, which was putting certain slang into the writing. Same thing he chastised me for. He did the same thing. So, and you know what, everybody, I did not bring it to his attention. See, nothing to women. Some men don't like when you bring it to their attention when they're being a hypocrite, or when they like to show you stuff, and you gotta, how can I say this? They like to show you things, and even if it's wrong, a lot of times they don't like for you to correct them. Because I could have easily jumped all over him and said, look, you getting on me and trying to chastise me, saying that my writing wasn't, I was using kind of my own terminology in this writing when this writing is supposed to be very professional. You proofread it, he rewrote it, and then he used his own verbiage in it that wasn't professional. He did the same thing I did, but I didn't even correct them. You know what I did, ladies? I took the paper. I said, thank you, honey. This is really good. And I went in and changed the crap he changed, and I sent the letter and got the results I want. See, I don't see, because a lot of times they don't like when you correct them because they want to show you something. See, the man, they like for you. They want, I've heard men say they want you to be teachable. Another thing I want to say real quickly. My boyfriend told me that a lot of men don't like older women because he says that some of them seem to he said they seem to be set in they are set in their ways, and he said you can't teach them nothing or tell them nothing. They're set in their ways, and he can start naming some older women that we knew. And when I say older, because I know y'all men say a woman that's 30 is hitting the wall, and I'm 34, but my boyfriend considers older women that are older than him. Okay, let's make that correction. So he was saying that with some older women, he was saying that, because I wanted to know what these men I was complaining. I'm like, well, what are y'all complaining about? He said with some older women, they are set in their ways. You can't tell them anything. He said man likes to be admired. He likes for the woman to be able to teach her things. He doesn't like for her to come into a situation already knowing everything and telling him what to do and what not to do. He wants her to admire him, and he likes to be the one to teach her things and show her things. And I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. I didn't argue. I said, okay, I get what you're saying. And that's why I'm reporting back to everybody. I get what he's saying. The issue, and I didn't say this to him, but the issue is, okay, for some men, see, most men feel like that, but some men don't have nothing for the woman to admire and look up to. On top of that, the guy hasn't mastered anything. So if you're telling me to give you my money, let's say, or, yeah, you're saying, let's say we're married and you said, let's invest in this X, Y, and Z stocks, but you don't know about stocks and bonds. Why would I trust you with our money that we've saved up for you to invest in stocks and bonds when you don't know what the hell you're doing? I would go to an expert. So they want to take control and want to lead and want you to admire them, but then how are we supposed to admire somebody who hasn't really accomplished much? Like, if you haven't accomplished many things, or you're not, and look, everybody everybody goals are different, so I don't mean I'm not saying it in a negative way. So let me rephrase that. Whatever you're trying to school the woman on, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to show her or teach her about, make sure you're an expert at it.